Ghostbusters, New Ghostbusters, Female Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2016, Ghostbusters Answer the Call, whatever you want to call it, is okay. There you go, the movie is okay. No, it's not good as the first, but it's not the apocalypse that so many people expected. There's no mass hysteria, no cats and dogs living together. That is a completely different movie. This movie is fine. The ladies were great, there's great chemistry between them, the sets are good, the effects look cool. Sure, I understand that many people don't like the whole neon ghost colors, but it fit the mood of the movie, and some of the ghost designs were awesome. It had some good callbacks to the original Ghostbusters, I laughed at most of the jokes, I had a good time, I would watch it again as a rental, but I wouldn't buy it on Blu-ray. The movie is okay. I did come into this movie with an open mind. However, in the first 5 minutes of the movie, I thought it was going to be one of the worst movies I've seen this year. The director Paul Feig can't direct horror or action well, but once he gets to the comedy, the movie gets fun. Sure, the introduction of Kate McKinnon's character got a few chuckles out of me, but I didn't really laugh until the 10 to 15 minute mark. What I like about the ladies is that they're not exactly the counterparts of the original Ghostbusters. When I watched the trailers, I honestly thought Kate McKinnon is Egon, Melissa McCarthy is Ray, Kristen Wiig is Peter, and Leslie Jones is Winston. In the final movie, they do have certain elements of the original Ghostbusters, but the characters actually do stand out. Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig are the straight men, straight women of the group, while Kate McKinnon and Leslie Jones are the wild cards. I gotta say that Kate McKinnon plays one of the most sexiest scientists on the big screen. She's no Denise Richards from The World Is Not Enough, but at least she acts like a scientist and can make techno battles sound authentic. She is insane in this movie, and there's a couple of good physical gags with her. Like in one shot, you see her standing in awe with seeing a ghost for the first time, then it cuts to Melissa McCarthy talking for a second, then it cuts back to Kate McKinnon stuffing her face with Pringles, and I was wondering where the hell did she get the Pringles from? Leslie Jones is not as irritating as I thought she was going to be from the trailers. Actually, she plays one of the most down-to-earth characters in the movie. She reacts to situations the same way a normal person would react to that situation. She doesn't yell as much as I thought she was going to, but every time she does yell in this, it got a laugh out of me. I actually like Melissa McCarthy in this, and I'm not much of a Melissa McCarthy fan. I really liked her in Spy, This Is 40, and Gilmore Girls, but I didn't like her much in anything else. Here she isn't doing much of her Melissa McCarthy shtick. Sure, there's a couple times where she has her outbursts of yelling at people and making fun of their manhood, but there are a few of those. Her character is a scientist who wants to prove her theory to the world and doesn't let anyone bring her down. Anybody can relate to this character. Also, the movie doesn't do the traditional Melissa McCarthy is fat joke where she's fat and is either unable to do certain tasks or she is incredibly acrobatic for a fat person. No, this movie has none of that, and I was so happy about that. It was refreshing. Kristen Wiig's character is definitely the blandest of the group, but she was still likable. She is definitely the most serious and most adult Ghostbuster, but it was fun seeing her break out of that mold during the movie. One moment she's talking about equations, the next she wants to bone Chris Hemsworth's character. One moment she's reserved, the next she's freaking out like a little girl when she believes that ghosts are real. I feel like there were a bunch of scenes with her and Melissa McCarthy cut out because in the movie, they were best friends, but they had a falling out, but immediately they're best friends again. There was no conflict, no tension, they were best friends again within 10 minutes. Chris Hemsworth stole the movie for me. He was hilarious. I love that he plays a nitwit. This guy wears glasses with no lenses because he was tired of cleaning his lenses. Every time there's a loud noise, he doesn't cover his ears, he covers his eyes. He doesn't know how to answer a phone even though he applied for a receptionist job. He would casually just walk into group conversations and he doesn't say a word. He is rude, he is dumb, he is selfish. Hell, when the Ghostbusters were trying to save him and the world, he decided to go get a sandwich. He was great. Andy Garcia makes a funny cameo in this as the mayor of New York, and I love the scene where Kristen Wiig compared him to the mayor of Jaws. He doesn't like that at all. We do have the cameos from the cast of the original Ghostbusters. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, and Sigourney Weaver are in it, but they are not playing as their respective characters from the movies. Some of the cameos were funny, but it was mostly a letdown. Also, recent TV commercials of the movie showed off some of the cameos, so that was pointless. Seriously, whoever works in marketing for Sony should be sacked. Since this movie is a reboot, it follows the same story as the first, plus it has a few story beats of the second movie. The villain wants to open a giant portal to let loose the ghosts in the city and soon take over the world. He does this by creating various doorways through the city, and the main portal will be opened in a building that has some certain history behind it. 3 scientists and a subway worker prove that ghosts are real and they're the only ones who can save the city. I will say that the biggest negative of this movie is definitely the villain. Rowan was not interesting. He's not even intimidating. He has the same hair as Peter McNichol's character from Ghostbusters 2. Hell, the only time he was interesting was when he possessed Melissa McCarthy and Chris Hemsworth, but that happens in the 3rd act. Sure, he actually does something compared to Viggo the Carpathian from Ghostbusters 2, and he had more screen time than Gozer from Ghostbusters 1, but he was just not interesting, nor was he funny. He does the thing from Ghostbusters 1 where he chooses the form of the Destructor based on the thoughts of the Ghostbusters, and yes, he becomes the logo of the Ghostbusters and a cartoon. No, I don't mean cartoon as in a giant CGI ghost that he became. No, he literally became a cartoon from the beginning of the real Ghostbusters cartoon. It wasn't a thrilling climax and it wasn't funny. The jokes are hit or miss, but I did laugh plenty of times during the movie. Most of the funny moments came from Chris Hemsworth, Kate McKinnon, and Leslie Jones. If the movie isn't doing nods to the original Ghostbusters and let these characters become their own, the movie does work. I did groan every time they say things like mass hysteria or total protonic reversal, but thankfully I groaned a few times. There's a lot of slapstick and physical gags compared to the original movies, but they were done well. Slimer is one of the best things about the movie, and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was a cool cameo. There's a scene after the credits which actually got me excited for the sequel. Besides the female cast, there are a few differences between this and the original Ghostbusters. Ghosts started appearing because of Rowan's devices. In the original movies, the ghosts always existed, but there was not that much proof. There's no ghost busting montage. The ladies caught one ghost and they had a huge battle in Times Square. There are a lot of different gadgets, including ones that make ghosts explode. They didn't build a containment field for ghosts until the very end. The ladies are actually noble in hunting ghosts. They didn't ask for money. They actually work with the mayor to keep the ghost hunting under wraps. And the biggest one, there is not much damage to the city after the finale. Some of these are good changes while others were eh. Listen, this movie is not bad. Not even close. This movie won't ruin your childhoods. This movie won't ruin Ghostbusters. If you're not a fan of the actresses or Paul Feig's filmography, then I understand. But seriously, I've seen a lot of crappy movies all my life. I'm looking at you, Independence Day Resurgence. This is just an okay movie with some great laughs and a great cast. And sometimes that's all you need in a movie. Of course I prefer the original Ghostbusters. Heck, I enjoyed the second one more than this. Sadly, this movie is not even as good as Spy. But I'll be lying if I said that Ghostbusters 2016 is one of the worst movies I've seen. It's just okay. Now, can we please move on?